girl, hey. Oh, I love when men join so they can put in their perspective. B, you can hear me good? Hey beauties, welcome to another episode of Risque with Jenny, a girl cast. Obviously, I am your host, Jenny, and I am here tonight by myself in my little sanctuary to talk about my new venture of being divorced. I am divorced as fuck, and I'm so excited. The crazy thing is that I never thought that I would say this, so it's not something that, just happened overnight. This took some time. I've been single now for 2.5 years, and at the time I didn't even think that divorce was in the plans. I was, I guess, I was not blindsided, but in a sense, didn't want to believe that that was something that was going to be in my future. So I turned a blind eye and pretended that everything was great when it wasn't. And here I am today, and I'm so excited to speak about it and to answer any questions for you girls that are going through it, or maybe you guys could give me some advice if you've been through it. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It was definitely a roller coaster ride, but I'm super proud of myself for where I'm at today. If there's some of you out there that know what I've been through and have been my rock and were with me, my ride or die girls from day one, when I was still, turning a blind eye, you guys were encouraging me and letting me know that this is something that happens to everyone. Hey, I'm not the first divorce, and I'm certainly not going to be the last, but you guys really got me through it. And I don't know if I can tell you enough about how much I appreciate my circle. My circle of friends, you girls know who you are. If it wasn't for you, I would not have been so motivated to do so much in my life. I'm certainly a go-getter. I've been like this since I was a child, but to see how I've grown these past 2.5 years and what I was able to accomplish by myself was the most amazing and liberating feeling I've ever felt. I have so many accomplishments in my life. Being a mother is number one. Being a mom has been an amazing blessing, and to just see my son, who's 21 years old now, grow into such an amazing man makes me so happy. So that's definitely my accomplishment that is really above there. But going through this divorce and being able to be strong and being able to motivate other women is my second accomplishment by far, and I'm just so happy about that. So I'm just thankful for all of you guys for listening and tuning in. Who would have thought somebody listening, for a little girl from Woodbridge, doing this? So I'm just so thankful. But it's just been such a journey. Like I said, I'll backtrack, and no one ever gets to the aisle and says I do and think that, there's going to be an I don't. That certainly wasn't what I was thinking. I had an amazing wedding. If I can turn back time and do the wedding again, I would do it for the party itself. The wedding was everything that I dreamed of, everything a little girl could ever dream of. It was so amazing. So it was great. It was great while it lasted. And sometimes you don't want to believe that things aren't for you, and you just force them upon yourself. And that's where you really, really stress yourself so much. You just put all that extra burden on you for no reason. God knew that situation was not for me. And as much as I tried to convince myself that it was, ultimately God's always right, and he always has a plan. So if you learn what I learned in this journey, if you learn to unfuck your brain, and that's what it is. Unfuck your brain. Stop thinking that, divorce is such a horrible thing. Listen, it's a chapter in your life. It's what you go through, and you will overcome. I remember a friend of mine saying to me one day, I was driving to work, and I was crying, this cry, like that cry you cry when you're like 5 or 6 years old. You can't even breathe. The boogers are coming out your nose. It was this cry that I could not control myself. And she literally said to me, you're going to look back and you're going to say to yourself, who was that? And honestly, I do that. I look back and I'm like, who was that? I was fighting and fighting for something that just wasn't destined for me. And sometimes you just got to know when to walk away and just be like, bye, I'm out. So thankfully, you know, when I was able to unfuck my mind, I was able to move forward. Because I mentioned this, I touched about this in the last episode. I come from a family, everyone's married. I just celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary 2 weeks ago, you know. Aunts and uncles who are married, very successful, a great, you know, relationship. That's something that I strive for. That's something that I always, always, always wanted. I remember being a little girl, my dad coming home from work, picking my mom up in the air, giving her a kiss, or while she's at the kitchen cooking, he's like smacking her ass, or, you know, kissing her from behind. And I would always look up at them and say, that's what I want. Aside from being a mom, that was always my goal. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a wife. So knowing that that didn't work out for me, it was a hard pill to swallow. It really was. But seeing the life that I'm building for myself now, it's like, you know what? Been there, done that. I'm good. I'm good. It's time to move on. I'm super excited about these new chapters that I have to fulfill. There's so many things that I want to do in my life. And I know that most of these things I was not going to be able to do being in a marriage like that. When you're the only one that's striving and pushing, you know, the relationship to do more and want to do more and succeed, it gets tiring. It gets so tiring. So I don't want to have to push somebody as much as I have to push myself. That's a lot of work. This go around, I really want to be vulnerable, and I want someone to take the lead. Because a bitch is tired. I'm tired. I don't know any other way to put it, but it's hard pushing two people together. Imagine being like those, what is it? The horses in a carriage pulling those people sitting on there. It's hard to do. And it's not taking away from the other person. You know, they did their part. They did as much as they can do. You know, you can only expect so much from people. But when you start feeling like you're carrying all the burden and all the work, there has to be something better. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. So that's where I found myself. And another thing is never, I don't care what it is, never make a decision when you are in an emotional stage in your life. I don't care what it is, if it's buying a pair of shoes, buying a car, buying a house. You cannot make a decision when you are so emotional. You know, I got married in a stage in my life where emotionally I was a wreck. I had just lost my firstborn son. You know, he was 9 years old when he passed away. And I strongly believe that, and I only learned this not too long ago because I was seeing a therapist and they pointed it out. I feel that I rushed into this marriage because I was just trying not to think about that, or trying to be happy and not deal with the loss. So don't ever, ever, ever make a decision during an emotional stage in your life, because that will kill you. It really will. And I didn't learn that until now. All these years, I was with someone for 15 years, and I just realized this about the last year and a half ago. Those emotional decisions are really going to impact you in the long run, and they're going to break you. It's going to break you. So now was I not only dealing with the loss of a husband in a sense, you know, I'm backtracking and trying to deal with the loss of my son. And if you want to, you know, obviously you, in a sense, you could compare these two things because you're in mourning. I was in mourning. I never mourned the death of my son. Now I'm mourning the death of my marriage. And I'm still trying to juggle the death of my son. So it's like all those things I built upon me, and it's no one else's fault. I'm not here to play the blame game, you know what I'm saying? But those are things that I did not take into consideration. I felt like I was doing the right thing at the time. It felt right. It felt good. I didn't feel, you know, the depression from losing my son. So I figured that this would be, you know, just a great way to start a new chapter. But I'll tell you one thing, this new chapter that I am beginning now, I have learned so much about myself in these last 2.5 years. Things that I never knew. When you're with someone, you think you know everything, right? The foods that I thought I liked, I don't like that shit. I thought I liked it. I thought I liked it because that's what he liked. The shows that I would watch, I don't want to watch that shit either. I thought I liked it because that's what he liked. I'm a people pleasing person. So that's what I do. I give, give, give. I want somebody to always feel good when they're around me. I want them to be happy. So I always gave of myself. And it's not to say it's a bad thing. But this time around, I am going to give myself to someone who's deserving of what I have to give them. They need to be deserving of it, 100%. No half-ass shit. And that's in a sense what I was dealing with. But, you know, these past 2 years, I've actually worked on myself. I've grown so much. I interview myself. Like, you know, I'm not perfect either. I want to know what I can do better this next go around. And that's why I love when men tune in. If men can tune in and they give us your peace of mind, let us know what you're looking for in a woman, what you're looking for when you're married. You know, I've met so many men now that they're so against marriage. And I think marriage is a beautiful thing with the right person, of course. You're right. That always comes like a disclaimer, with the right person, of course. But, you know, it's like, I have no regrets. I don't. I would never sit here and say I regret it. That's something that I learned from. I know what I want this time around. You know, let's just say this go around, I'm looking for love and looks. Not family and convenience. You know, I feel, you know, back then it was like everyone was like, oh, Jen, you should get married. Oh, you know, this is great. Da, 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 da. And it's like you want to please everyone. So I'm definitely, I know this. I am that people pleaser. But this time around, I am wiser and I'm doing this for me. For me. As selfish as it sounds, I'm doing it for me. B, do it for the eggplant. That too. I certainly need to make sure it's worth my while because, you know, let me not touch on that, please. B, don't bring it out of me. No, but I certainly am going to test drive and make sure that all is copacetic and is working in my favor because I ain't trying to have a lease and turn this thing back in after a year or so. And I don't want to be stuck with it either. I can't stand you girls, a mess. But listen, and another thing, if y'all see me out there with different dudes, like I'm dating, okay? A bitch is trying to figure this out, so don't be thinking right away they're my man. You know, I'm trying to play the field. It's crazy how when men do it, it's okay, right? But now that, you know, we don't live in those times anymore. We should be able to go out and date, and that's what I intend to do. I'm dating them all. I'm going to date them all, and I'm going to figure out which one is best for me, and that's just how it's going to go this time. My parents ain't going to, you know, put their 2 cents in. I don't want anybody trying to rush this. This is going to be a process, and Jenny is going to have fun while doing it too. I got no shame about that, none whatsoever, so any of y'all out there want to take me out on a date, I'm open to it. Let's do this. And I ain't no bum bitch either. When I say take me out on a date, that's all I'm saying is take me. But listen, I'll do my fair share too. You know, you don't have to, I ain't looking for a man to know, come and like wine and dine me and then I'm out. You know, if there's a connection, that's great. If not, I'm going to let you know. And that's just how it's going to be. I was interested in doing that speed dating, but speed dating for divorcees. Like I would love to date someone who was already married so they know what to expect, what they want, what they don't want. You know, I always have this saying and I play around like I like them young, but listen, look at where young got me, okay? Look at where young got me. So I certainly would love to make a connection with someone who's been married because listen, I'm second marriage material. Like I know the first go around what I want and I don't want. So you want me this time around because I'm wiser now. I know what I want. I know what I'm gonna put up with and I know what I'm not gonna put up with. So let's try to, I guess in a sense, normalize dating. You know, I'm worried about dating in a sense. You know, I don't want to bring people around my family and right away again my parents like, oh, is that your boyfriend? Are you gonna get married? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to date. I want to date and see what I like about everyone, and that's just how it's gonna be. And this go around as well, I need someone, a man, who is going to be stronger than I am. I don't want to lead. Like I said, I'm tired. I need somebody to take the lead. And when I say lead, it's not like telling me what to do, because that's not going to happen. You know, tell me what to do. However, it's more so take the lead in making decisions. Take the initiative. Be the one that's on top of things. You know what I'm saying? I pulled a lot of the weight, and I'm tired. So I need someone that is going to be at that level. And that's why I say that I think a divorcee is going to be great for me, because that person is coming from the same situation that I came from. You know what I'm saying? I can't be with somebody that doesn't know what marriage is like, because I don't want to have to. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not a rehab. It's not my responsibility to take care of someone like that. They need to be able to take care of me too. I don't raise my son already. I done did the babysitting thing. I don't want to be there anymore. So yes, right? Girls can play the field too. We could play. You know, I remember having a conversation with my parents sometime last year. Yeah, during the holidays, we were out to dinner, and my dad was like, but are you going to start dating? And I'm like, eventually I want to. I mean, I didn't feel comfortable dating without being divorced. Oh, did I fail to mention that I just got divorced last week? Was it last week or the week before, the 12th? So this is new to me. While I've been single, and yes, there are men that are interested, or maybe I've even had my eye on a few, you know, I have not dated because I did not feel comfortable doing that without having a final divorce. So I say all that to say, my father had asked me if I'm going to start dating, and I said absolutely. So his thing of dating, thank you, Britt, thank you. His thing of dating is like the first person I meet, like that's going to be the one. No. So I'm like, Daddy, dating means that I'm going to see multiple people. And he's like, but you're a lady, you can't do that. And I was like, excuse me? I'm a lady, I can't do that? So a man could do it? And he laughed. He laughed about it. And I'm like, oh, so a man could do it. Guess what? Jenny is here to change the game, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. If you see me with such so-and-so yesterday, and you see me with someone else today, that's what it's going to be. And that's how I'm going to live my life, because I intend to make the most amazing, this next chapter, I intend to live it so carefree and live. I don't feel like I've lived before. I've lived for other people. I want to start living for me. So whatever that takes is what it's going to be. And when I started this podcast, this was wow. Like maybe over a year ago, I started the podcast with the intention to do it every month, but then I started to run in a campaign, so I had to fall back from it. But I remember saying that this is a no judgment zone. Who are we to judge? And I also remember being in my marriage, like I always felt like I was a judgy person as well. Like, you know, because I was married, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do what that person's doing. So I felt myself being like that. I don't want to be that. Who are we to judge anybody? Do whatever the hell you want to do. If that is not affecting my life, if you are not affecting my life, go about your business. Go about your business. And when I say affecting my life, it's because obviously my relationship ended not because I wanted it to. It ended because there was some infidelity, and the truth is the truth. That's it. The truth will always set you free. However, it didn't set him free. The divorce took quite some time, but I just be honest. If that certain somebody would have came to me and been like, listen, I ain't happy no more, I need to be out, peace. Go, I ain't a fucking warden. Do you, but don't lie to me about it. Don't play with my heart like that. That's the worst fucking feeling, is getting your heart getting played. But my saying always, until this day, I will always remember it. Laugh now, cry later. And look at that. I was the one crying before, and now I'm laughing. My, how the tables have turned. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, like, I don't do well with that. You know, I'm not saying that every relationship is perfect. I'm not saying that, you know, shit doesn't happen. I know shit happens. But don't do that run-on shit and be trying to play a game, because at the end of the day, you're playing yourself. You're playing yourself. You ain't playing me. I know I'm a good woman. You ain't nobody gonna be able to get this if they don't come correct. I know where I stand. So, you know, at the end of the day, people just play themselves. You just gotta be honest. When I go out on these dates, if people ask me if I'm dating, yes, Yes, I am. That's what a date is. I don't feel the need where I have to lie to anybody. So I hope that I can meet someone who's on my level and understands what I'm going through. And this goes both ways. If I meet a dude and he's like, I'm dating, I can't get upset about that. That's what dating is. Figure out who's the best for you, boo-boo, because that's what I'm doing too. But this divorce thing has been, it's crazy to say it. I was speaking today at work and I had mentioned my ex, but I was just like, oh, my husband. And I was like, wait, hold up a second. Ex-husband, let me get this right. So it's going to take some getting used to. But I think by now, it's like, what, almost 3 years? It is what it is. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to start dating and seeing what's out there. I mean, I don't hear good stories about it either, but hey, I'm not going to know if I don't put myself out there. And I definitely want to put myself out there. I want to date and I want to do all that stuff. So let's hope I can meet someone who can keep up with me, because keeping up with me is pretty hard. And that's why I say, like, there's certain things in my new relationship or a new relationship that I know that I need to work on. I need to be better at. You know, I always want to take the lead on everything. So I have to fall back. I need to be able to let somebody come in and lead us to success. You know what I'm saying? Lead us. You know, I felt like I always did that. And I want somebody to do that for me. And I also want, I want a man who's going to be in tune with the things that I love. If you don't know that my favorite color is pink, if you don't know that my favorite food is pizza, why are we together? Why? It can't always be about the other person. You know, I want to be a little selfish this time too, you know. I want somebody, in a sense, to cater to our marriage. Not cater just to me. Cater to us. Fill us up with that. So when I say hard to keep up with, it's just that, in a sense, like, I'm always on the go and I know what I want. And I think at this point in my life, I would hope that someone my age knows what they want, right? You know, back then I used to be like, oh, no one's going to be able to keep up with me, because I felt like I was always very mature for my age. However, I'm in my 40s now. Like, dude, if you're in your 40s and you don't know what you want and I have to hold your hand and walk you through this thing called life, you ain't it. You ain't it. So we'll see. But anyone out there divorced, or, you know, maybe thinking about divorce, you ain't gonna put your business out there, right? But the divorce thing is not easy. Like I said, who gets married to think that they're gonna end up divorced? That was not in my plan. That was not in the blue script for my life, you know, the blueprint. But that's something that I do want to change about myself too. Like, I always need to know what's gonna happen. Like, I mean, I've worked on it so much these past 2 years, but I was that person that was like, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen in a month from now? I don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired. I just want to live my life and just move forward. Hey, G. G, talk to us about your relationships too, bro. We need some men perspective. I know what I want. What do men want? What do they want? Shit is confusing. So confusing. But going back to what I was saying is that I always needed to know what's next. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not. I remember, you know, planning, you know, whether it was a trip or us going somewhere for the day. It's like I needed to know the play-by-play for everything. And sometimes that's a great thing, but I know that I don't want to bring that into my relationship anymore. My father tells me, he says to me, you're going to have to play stupid. And I'm like, what do you mean play stupid? And he's like, pretend you don't know anything. Let them take the lead. That's what you're going to have to do from now on. And I'm like, damn, I think he is onto something. I may have to play a little dumb. Because this time it's like, I'm not catering to you if you're not going to cater to me. And I don't say it to be mean, because I love love. I love to cater to my man. I love to make sure that he's happy. However, I need to make sure that Jenny's happy too. I can't give, and not get anything in return. I always say that relationships, whether they are marriages, boyfriend, girlfriend, friendships, with your best friend, there has to be reciprocity. I cannot continue to give, and get nothing back from it. Those days for Jenny are so over. If I feel like I am giving myself of you and I'm not getting anything in return, the relationship is deaded for me. It's dead. And I don't need to explain that to anyone. If you don't hear me from me, you already know what the deal is. That's it. The explanations are over. All of that nonsense is so over. Oh God, this is so awesome. I love talking to you guys. This is great. Y'all really have to tune in next month. Next month is going to be, May is masturbation month. So we are going to be talking about that self-pleasure. I'm going to have some girls on here talking about that new hype, the rose, which I have not tried at all. I actually just ordered one yesterday, so I will be doing a test run prior to that episode so I could give my feedback. But looking at these girls online with that, it looks like they're having convulsions, so I hope that I make it through. So Mill saying, just make sure to not confuse little. Yes, you're absolutely right. That is crazy. Like, I guess I wanted to be happy so bad that I painted a picture of what I wanted to see, and it wasn't reality. It was not reality. So got to make sure that it's a man and not a boy who I have to raise. Isn't that sad? Yeah. No, B, I'm not trying to rose live. I'll try it prior to the show. So if I come up here all disheveled and out of crazy whack, you'll know why. Oh my God, yes. I am so excited about new romance in my life. I am so open to it. Like, my arms are wide open. I love love. I love the comfort of being with someone. I love someone. You know what I miss the most? And I haven't had this in years, is someone just checking up on me, seeing if I'm good. Like, are you okay? I had someone message me prior to the show, like, good luck on the podcast tonight, mama. And it's like, dang, if my new man ain't attentive like that, like knowing what I'm up to and things like that and rooting for me, I don't want him. I don't want him. I can't be the only cheerleader in a marriage. I need someone to cheerlead for me too. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. Transparency is the key to relationships without judgment. Absolutely. However, in my younger years, I'll be the first to admit, I felt that was difficult for me. I always felt like maybe I was being judged or I would judge. I'm no longer like that. I've grown so much, I've grown so much that that judge factor in me is so gone. It's so far gone. So I hope that I really could meet someone who has the same, visions as me and the same like couth in a sense that we don't judge each other, especially for our past. Like, I don't want somebody coming like, oh, well, you was married for 15 years. What happened then? Well, why did he cheat then? There had to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge me off of that shit. Don't judge me. So, but I'm excited. I'm super excited about that. But the divorce has definitely been a sigh of relief. This has gone on for too long now. I never thought that it was going to end. And I definitely finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And just the crazy thing, I'll share a little something with you, is that, divorce is scary, no matter which way you put it. Divorce is scary. Talking to attorneys is scary. Going in front of a judge is scary. That's all scary shit, And obviously, like, when you're thinking about divorce, you're like, oh shit, should I get an attorney? I'm gonna have to hire an attorney. I'm gonna have to get someone to walk me through this. You know what? Nah. I was like, I ain't doing all that. I'm gonna figure this shit out myself and I'm gonna get me through this. So I represented myself the entire time, the whole way through, to the point where when it was getting closer to the date, I said to myself, oh shit, maybe I should consult with somebody. Maybe I should just just to make sure. So I go and I consult with someone, and I show them all the paperwork, everything I filed through the courts myself, how I did all the processes myself. And they literally said to me, what do you need me for? You're good. You're good. You don't need me. What do you want to give me, a $5,000 retainer? I'll take it. He's like, but everything you've done so far, you're fine. You can do this. So that was the most liberating thing ever, to see those divorce papers and say that so-and-so was represented by so-and-so, and then Jenny Perez self-represented. I cried on that alone, to know that I pushed myself and I got through it. Just to know that I was able to do something that in that magnitude and get me through it was the most liberating feeling. It was amazing. So hopefully I don't have to do that again. Or if I do, I will be the next Elizabeth Taylor, let me tell you, because I'm going to just keep getting married and married and married. We'll see. In what ways do you feel like you've grown throughout this divorce process? Just loving myself more. I've always been a confident person, and I owe that to my parents. My father has been telling me that I am the most beautiful thing since I came out my mother's womb, and my mother always was my biggest cheerleader, pushing me to be the best at everything I did, whether it was from gymnastics to dance to ballet. Anything that I did, my mother was my number one fan. So I've always had that confidence. However, growing, you just appreciate it so much more when you're older. You always think like, you're great, right? You want to believe that you're great. And then you get older, you get into this social media era, and you start seeing, how other people move, or you may see a girl that you may think is like, damn, she's dope, or she's prettier than me, or she's thinner than me, or she's got this. Nah, you know what? I'm the shit too in my own way. So me not comparing myself to someone else has been such a huge growth factor for me in this divorce, especially when you're cheated on. When you're cheated on as a woman, that makes you start looking in the mirror at yourself and doubting yourself. Who said that best? It was Cardi B. She said something like, you got me looking in the mirror, like looking at myself crazy. Nah, hell no. Hell no. I'm confident enough, and I have grown into myself, that I would never, ever look at the next woman and feel smaller than. Hell no. I know the type of woman that I am. So that growth for me, and to be honest, I don't think I probably would have ever gotten to this point if it wasn't for something like that in my life happening. Sometimes the bad brings out the good. So something like that I went through, and having to kind of, in a sense, tweak the way that you're thinking about yourself, is growth. So I take so much pride in that. I've grown so much in that aspect. So I'm very confident within myself. At the end of the day, it's the other person's loss. It's definitely not mine. And that right there is growth. So, and a lot of little things, like just knowing that I deserve the best. And that's it. If you ain't coming to me with the best, I have no problem saying goodbye. I've settled before. I'm not going to do that this time around. I'm not. The emotional response is the worst feeling in the world. Oh, yeah. The disrespect is like, I don't even know how else to say it. You believe that, you want to believe this person is your best friend, and the disrespect that comes with that is so heart-wrenching. I would not wish that on anyone. I don't care who they are. That's something I wouldn't wish that pain, that pain on anyone. It was a horrible feeling, but thankfully I'm here to sit down and talk about it, and I'm not embarrassed. I remember not mentioning, this whole thing to my family because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that it was happening to me, number one, that it was happening to us. I felt like, oh my God, I took a vow. I wanted to be with this person for the rest of my life. But guess what? God had bigger and better plans for me. So that embarrassment is so out the window. I'm not embarrassed to speak about my journey, what I've been through, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the sad, the ugly. what you see with me is what you get, and that's another growth factor. I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm me. I'm me, and whoever comes into my life, I would hope that they appreciate it, and it is what it is. You're going to get the serious side of Jenny. At work, I'm serious. You're going to get the humorous side. I feel like I'm always humorous. And you're going to get the wilding out when the night comes and the weekend comes and I'm with the people that I love and people that I'm surrounded by who love me. I just let loose and have an amazing time. And I love that about me. I love that. So that goes for another thing about growth too. It's just loving who you are as a person. She says great importance is he or she understands your journey and respects your peace. Yes, I've always spoke about peace. Like I remember when our marriage was ending, and I remember saying to him, like, I'm not even fighting for us anymore. I'm fighting for peace. Because initially I was just trying to fight to keep the marriage. I was doing whatever I could, like lowering my standards to try to keep a marriage. I am no longer doing that, I said, what I'm fighting for right now is Jenny's peace, and that's all I want. And eventually I got it. I have so much peace in my life that I've never felt this before. Like, I feel emotional. The peace that I'm experiencing right now is just an amazing feeling. And sadly enough, maybe I wouldn't have felt all of this peace if it wasn't for what I went through. Maybe I had to go through this to get to where I'm at today, There's no love lost. It was a good run while it lasted, and it's made me who I am today. I know that I'm a great person. I'm an amazing wife, and I'm so looking forward to being that special someone for someone else. So I'm excited about that. But I'm definitely taking on any interested gentlemen. Come my way. Let's do this. I'm excited. You know what though? I gotta be careful because a friend of mine was like, "Listen, the summer's coming. Don't you want to be out there doing your own thing?" And I'm like, "That's still gonna happen." That's the one thing too. Like in a new relationship, I want to be able to be me and that person to be them as well. Like, do you let me do me with respect? I don't need to be up your ass. You don't need to be up mine. As long as we respect each other, we're fine. We'll be golden. That's all I've ever asked for is respect. So, excuse me. Listen, ladies, I found this wine a few weeks ago. Good fucking rosé. If anyone knows me, rosé all day. That's my thing. Rosé or Casamigos. And this right here, this bottle was like $11.99. And by far, one of the best rosés I've ever had. I can't wait for the summer because I'm putting this in the blender with some ice and I am going to make me a frosé. So, speaking of rosé, I have a lot of things coming up in my life that I am working on, and that goes again for growth. All of these things that I'm doing right now are things that I would have never been able to do if I would have continued to be in that marriage. So I've got so many fun things coming up that I've been working on, and I can't wait to share them with you all. I know you guys are going to be excited as well. But what else? You guys have any questions? Oh, goodness. I just, thinking about the relationship now. I haven't spoken about this like this. Wow. The first person I shared this information with was my brother. I have a brother who lives in another state, and he went through something similar, and I opened up to him, and right away he was like, "You need to talk to mom and dad." And I was just so scared. I was scared to tell my parents. Scared and again being embarrassed. I just didn't speak to them about it, and it took months. Then I opened up to a friend of mine. Then I opened up to my god sister. Then I opened up to someone who's extremely close to me now, and she really held my hand and walked me through this. Mill, I love you so much for that. And it's just been like, it was so hard, but I'll never forget the look on my mother's face when I told her. I must have been on the phone with her for a good 45 minutes. And mind you, this is more than a year has passed by that I'm going through ups and downs in my marriage. We had already decided to split and live separately. And so I open up to my mom because my friend forced me to. And I call her on FaceTime, so we're like this, speaking to each other. And my mother's very religious. My mom's very calm. She's very soothing. She always tries to find a solution for everything. And I swore that after I finished telling her, she was going to say to me, well, you know what, Jenny, men are men, and, these are the things that we have to deal with, just be a wife. I for some reason, all those months, I envisioned my mother saying that to me. And when I'm telling her the story and what has been happening, she pulls her glasses down and says, are you done? And I'm like, what do you mean? Done with what? She's like, are you done telling me? And I'm like, yeah, what? And she's like, fuck him. Fuck him. And I'm like, my mouth dropped to hear my mother say that. And I'm like, what? And she's like, fuck him. You don't need him. You never needed him either. She was like, you were dragging him along the way with you. It's time for you to do exactly what you've been wanting to do. And I was like, oh shit, she has a point. And I was like, oh my God. So all that time, because of the embarrassment, I didn't open up my mouth. And the only regret I have throughout this whole entire thing is that I didn't say anything sooner. If I would have said something sooner, I would have had the support that I really needed from my family, and I would have been able to get to this point where I'm at right now, earlier, of course, than now. But, it's just like the way things happen. But that right there brought so much joy to me to know that my mom had my back, which I didn't think anything less because my parents are amazing. And then the next day, because that was in the middle of the night, my mom and I spoke till like 2 o'clock in the morning. The next day, my mom calls me on FaceTime and says, your father wants to speak to you. And my dad gets on, and the first thing I do is just cry, looking at my father again. And my father said, look at me, because I had my head down, and I look up at him, and he says, it's his loss. It's his loss. Move on. And then he's like, you need us for anything, we'll be here for you. And that's all I needed to hear. So if there's anyone out there going through anything, I don't care who it is, what it is, excuse me, feel free to reach out to me if you need to speak. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If I really would have been able to know that I could have spoken to my parents, like that would have helped me so much. And again, it doesn't take away from my friends who knew, my brother who knew, my sister who knew, but having that like seal of approval in a sense for my parents that I can do this, that really helps so much. So if there's anyone out there that ever needs to speak about anything, it doesn't have to be divorce, anything, kids, work, just know that I definitely am here, because having such amazing friends has gotten me to this point where I'm at today, and I'm just so thankful. So if I could be that friend to someone else, I'm here for you. I'm certainly here for you. Yeah, definitely. Time for sure. Oh, thank you, Allie. My niece says you deserve peace. When was the moment you felt lighter? Okay, so I felt lighter when I finally told myself what I said earlier. I had opened up and said that when you learn to unfuck your brain, that's when you'll start getting it and feeling lighter. I felt lighter when I finally told myself divorce is not a horrible thing. For so many years, divorce to me just seemed so ugly. Saying it seemed ugly. I would hear other people speak about it. I'm like, that's not what I want. When I learned to tell myself that divorce is not a horrible thing and stop beating myself up and being in my own head, that's when I felt lighter. That's when I felt lighter. And you can only imagine that I felt even lighter when the divorce was final. That was something that I could not wait for it to come. It sounds silly because, obviously that person moved on with their lives. I'm moving on with my life. So like, what is the piece of paper? But guess what? That piece of paper meant everything. To see my maiden name back there, Perez, was everything to me. That just did, it made me feel a whole lighter. Just so much lighter, so... That was it's a crazy experience. Hey T, I just spoke about you. You being my rock on my days to work crying with boogers coming out my nose. I also have another friend that her husband had, he happened to be in the living room when I was speaking about it. So I start crying and he's like, stop crying. And I thought he was just going to be like, stop crying. You don't need that shit. He was just like, stop crying. You look so ugly when you cry. And I was like, damn, it's like that. He was like, you look ugly. You an ugly crier. But yeah, I made it. I made it through, and I just cannot be so much like, I feel so proud, so proud. Obviously, you guys know if you follow me that I won a general election. So I ran a campaign for 6 months. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life for my professional life, right? But going through this divorce and making it through the finish line and knowing that I did this and I represented myself, by far one of the best accomplishments I've ever felt in my life. That right there was like that. Like I said, like I cried when we were done, and it wasn't crying over the marriage. It wasn't crying over what was. It was crying because I got myself to that point and I saw the potential that I had in myself to be even that much greater. So that right there was the finish line for me. To see that I got myself through that was amazing. And that was some hard work. Anybody that been through a divorce, that is not easy. I'm telling you. The paperwork, the time, the phone calls, the emails, it's nonstop, and you definitely feel a weight on your shoulder. You just want it to be gone. So that was just such an enlightened time for me. Like, I was souped. I was like, let's go, Jenny, let's go. Even that morning, I was like, we're going to do this. It's like I was in a boxing ring, and I had my coach putting on that Vaseline, like, let's do this. So I was so excited about it. But, so yeah, you know what? Divorce is not a horrible thing. You don't want to think of it. That's not somebody, someone doesn't wake up and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get married, then I'm going to get divorced. That's not common. It's not something someone says. When you speak of divorce, it just has this negative notation to it, and it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. There is life after the D and better D to come. So kind of keep it pushing, right? Keep it moving. So I'm super excited, guys, and I'm just thank you. I can't wait to celebrate. Next weekend is my girl's birthday, and we're just going to celebrate her life, and we're just going to celebrate all the amazing things that are just happening to all of us, to each and every one of us. And I'm such a advocate for women. I love to empower women. I love when we push each other. It means so much to me to be able to have such a good group of friends where we're happy for each other and we want to see each other succeed. And that's the same thing I need in a marriage. I need my partner to want to look at me and be like, damn, that's my bitch. Look at her doing her thing. Don't look at me as a competition. Don't feel that, I'm doing more, or like, come on, we both could do this. So that's something I'm definitely in need of. It's not something that I want. I need that. I need someone who's going to be so proud of me, and not just think about themselves. So I'm excited. So our next show, like I talked on, is May is masturbation month, so we definitely going to get into that, and I can't wait to try that rose and talk about it. So we're going to speak on that. We're also going to talk about healthy marriages. So I'm going to have someone on the show to speak about what a healthy marriage is and how, in a sense, to keep a healthy marriage. And I don't want to stereotype, however I'm about to. It's hard being married to someone in law enforcement. That's what I had to deal with. That environment in itself is so difficult. If you are not married, and this goes for a female or a male, if you are not married, if your significant other is not a powerful person, powerful in the mind, if they are not strong enough, they're going to fail. They're going to fail. Divorce rates for law enforcement are sky high, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason. That environment is just, it's lack of a better word, filthy. If you don't honor your marriage and you aren't sacred about it, you're gonna fail. It's gonna eat you up. It's gonna eat you up, and it's gonna chew you out. So that's we're gonna speak about that healthy marriage thing, and especially in law enforcement, because obviously, you know, that's what I had to deal with. Yeah, it's just funny. Like right now, I just thought of something that when this person, you know, did what they did, and I confronted them, it was like, oh, you know, you'll never understand that, you know, we have these badges, and the power comes with the badge, and we get all of this attention, and, you know, you won't know what that's like. And my response was, excuse me, I don't need all that. Like I said to you guys earlier, my father has been telling me that I am beautiful since I came out the womb. I know what it is to get that attention. I never lacked attention as a child, in my teens, in my adulthood. I always had that confidence from people who loved me. I don't need to walk down the street and have another man tell me I look good. Don't be telling me something that my daddy already told me. I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So to hear that is why that person did that, because of the environment that they were in, and that I would never understand, is straight bullshit. Is bullshit. But oh, T said, oh God, I can't with you. My girl said a happy marriage is equivalent to the rose. I'm about to find out, because I just ordered mine last night. I was saying that, you know, I'm going to try it prior to the show so I can come back with some real, authentic feedback. So if y'all see me coming up on here with my hair a hot ass mess and just looking all a mess and disheveled, that thing took me for a loop. I can't stop watching those videos like on TikTok of the girls like going into convulsions. Like, I hope that happens to me. God knows that hasn't been happening. So I should have invested in one a long time ago. But that's going to be fun. So that's going to be so much fun. Again, this podcast is real. It's authentic. It's non-scripted. We say what we say. When you see me, like, what you see is what you get. And that's it. This is just going to be a good time. I'm going to have the girls over here. We're going to have so much fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. It feels so good to be able to speak about real life things and not having to be someone that you're not. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a sigh of relief that I'm able to speak about this and speak my truth, you know, and just move forward. And that's it. At the end of the day, no one owes an explanation to anyone. So that's not what this is about. It's just about speaking freely and hopefully being able to help someone out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, if I can be of assistance or help or an ear or a shoulder to anyone, like, I really thrive off of that. I love to be there for someone. And that's why I love marriage. I love to be there for someone. But I'm not going to be taken advantage of any longer. So on that note, I'm going to end with that. And I'm going to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, we're going to be having 2 shows next month that I'm super excited about. So make sure that you guys tune in. And I'll see you then. Kisses to you guys. And thanks so much for tuning in. Love you. Thank you so much, Mel. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Stop. Oh. I appreciate you guys so much. An emotional moment. Thank you guys.